Okay, we're going to do a rolling spontaneous thing with it, seeing what comes up and then bouncing back with it.
So we're just going to see what it says without asking a question.
Right.
There should be more coming out really soon.
Thaw, band together, answered, and. It's interesting because we talked about not seeing the and sign.
The ampersand.
Right. Let's see. I don't know how this will, but maybe it'll pick it up. Thaw.
Well, band, answered, and ampersand all have and.
Oh yeah. And people, when they're frozen, they're kind of disconnected. So banding together when you thaw out the cold, the coldness of people.
And it's funny that answered came up when we didn't ask a question. This is like commenting on this is an answer for
Right.
what? Maybe we should ask a question. Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
He's in rehab, I think. Dennis Rodman's trip to North Korea.
Few temperamental domain.
Domain is like it's like your land, right? Your domain, like what you control.
Are 220s okay?
And he went to a realm of a very controlling domain where it's very temperamental, where you have to be doing the right thing, or you're you get wound up being served for dinner to the emperor. Right? Didn't he eat his uncle or something?
I think he fed him to a bunch of hungry dogs.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. And he's one of the few that flew.
Yeah, I was just gonna say few is flew.
His few is flew, right? And he's very temperamental too. He flies off the handle.
Mental
instantly.
and temper. Just take out the A. It was like
Temperamental.
Domain. Yeah, dome in Russian is home. So domain is like, what you rule. And the few rule the masses, especially in North Korea.
Yeah.
It's like the domain
Right.
of the few.
It's the domain of the few. Good point. Right. And he's like the do man. He's the man who did it. Domain, do man.
And actually, if let's see, if this A were an R, then it would be Rodman all mixed up. So you'd have RODMAN.
Wow. So I was thinking domain.
If the I were an R, then it would be Rodman all mixed up.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems to tap in a whole different lot of ways. What effect will this trip make? What effect have? Analyst.
Analyst responsive because then. So, it was being scrutinized and analyzed by the media and got a lot of response from the public. So I feel like it kind of created this conversation, drew attention to what's this situation. It wasn't really in the limelight until all the news coverage going there. So it allowed for analysis, response, because I guess, the controversy was like was presenting Kim Jong Un with like a birthday gift, like a thank, something like.
Oh. There was
So
a birthday involved in it?
Oh yeah, he sang "Happy Birthday" to the ruler when he was there, so that was really controversial.
That's so funny.
And because there's a big question of like, why is he doing this? That's what all the analyzing, the responses.
Right.
Like, why?
The cause, yeah.
Hey.
Good, how are you?
And I think ultimately he'll be thanked
Yeah.
because he stirred up something and did something that was not directly against anything. He wasn't trying to create a conflict. So the analysts were like, they had to go through a process. First they were like, oh, what are you doing supporting a bad guy? But then he got to make his statement and try to point out how he was trying to do something good. And he's really a paradox because he's so off the hook, drunk and wild, but on the other hand, he's making sense. He's trying to promote something good. And he had a lot of support, too. He had all those rich basketball players with him.
Yeah, but it seemed like by the end of the trip they were a little bit wary of the, they seemed pretty nervous in the interview. Like, what do we get ourselves into?
Yeah, I guess they felt like roped in and they were like pawns to his psychosis, so to speak.
Yeah.
How about asking about doing a webinar with it?
Okay.
That's right. 49. Is it credit or debit?
I don't think it would be that hard to get Chris interested. He seems pretty enthused.
I think it's fine.
About a webinar.
Yeah, he's way
Vandal mortality in addition to ought to. So I guess it would be a good idea in addition to ought to.
Vandal and mortality, though, are sort of scary.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Other than a vandal is someone who sort of disturbs the status quo. And the status quo right now is believing that mortality is the ruling force. You know what I mean?
Or I guess like being a vandal, it's like making your mark, So you ought to, in a way, like make your mark in order to, like that's what, like although we're dealing with the issue of mortality, you can create something that'll last longer than you will.
Right. So you're fighting against this mortality belief system. Mortality makes me think of more totality, and vandal is like and all.
Oh yeah, interesting. But that goes with in addition to.
It goes with in addition to, right.
I'm gonna ask about. I want to see how my mom's doing.
Okay.
Since she got out of her tour, I don't know where she is.
Flawless. Follow the force. Depression.
Yeah. It's funny because I saw when you brought up the list, I saw the psychology one caught my eye. So that's what made me ask about my mom, because I was thinking you could ask about like a psychological concepts like schizophrenia. It's funny, depression. So my mom, Follow the Force also makes me think of her episodes, how just, like something else takes over. It's just kind of,
It's always cyclical.
Yeah. And, major depression is a big factor. 3 F's. Flawless, follow the force. And a D. And law. I think that's her
Oh,
big.
flaw.
A lot of her depression comes from the flaws, the laws. You know, like
And
she
lawless.
got arrested for a bunch of things, and then they dropped all the charges except for resisting arrest. So that seems to me like a flaw, because if you didn't do anything wrong except for resisting arrest, then why should you have been arrested to begin with?
Duh.
But that's just the protocol, I guess. You know, because they don't know that until they set you free. But flawless and follow, kind of similar sound to it. Flawless, follow.
And follow the force is probably a single entry.
Well, yeah, it is.
Most likely. It makes me think that she felt flawless and perfect when she came out. And then as she was out longer, you know, the weight of reality and having to deal with life on life's terms. And it's like, in some ways it seems like a horrendous thing to be stuck in a mental hospital. But in a way, mental hospital is like an oasis, and the streets are like the mental hospital. You know, in some ways it's like you're just at the mercy of all the craziness that's out there. So it's almost like the force is trying to depress you. You know what I mean? You're subjected to all the depressing influences, and there's nothing to lean on. Whereas when you're in the hospital, you got your meals, you got your groups, you know, all those different activities that are so wonderful. It's like the whole hospital thing should be made into a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where you can have those, you know, basket weaving and art classes and all that wonderful stuff.
I think it's funny that force is the fourth word.
Oh, wow.
Force.
The electric fortune cookie. Free on the web. Random word fun.
Let's see. How about let's put pi in. Just for fun. That's interesting. We could add that to our list of rhythm. Isn't that great? Rhythm.
Wow.
Absent-minded, health sadistically. And sadistically is like statistically.
Wow. I do feel like it has a rhythm to it. When I memorize it, it's my like absent-minded, health sadistically. It's almost like a sadistic, more masochistic thing, I guess, to like force yourself to remember something. But I feel like it's good for like mental health in a way, because it keeps your brain working, you know. Minded and health are right next to each other. And let's see.
Not only that, pi has got to be in everything. Maybe you don't see it, but pi is part of the nature of the whole universe, so it's always going to be there. And memorizing pi itself is kind of going right to the root of that rhythm.
Yeah.
That was great. Let's I'm going to save that one. Like, this made us laugh. Mm-hmm. You know, so you never know what's going to draw a chuckle. So you could, you know, for like people who are like physicists, science-minded, or whatever.
And RA, first it was rhythm, absent-minded. RA is like Ra, like the sun god. And the sun is like a pi.
Yeah. And it's all the sun is involved with our health. We forget about how important it is.
The electric fortune cookie. Free on the web, random word fun at askefc.com. See you there.
Let's put Freud in. Endow, rumble, insufficient, concerned with. Interesting, because a rumble is like either a rumble or it's like the rumbles of the subconscious. You know, rumble is like a thing that's below the level of consciousness to some extent.
Insufficient, concerned with makes me think of how he would like analyze, like his take on dreams. I forget which. I sometimes I mix up some of Freud and Jung's theories, but one of them thought like dreams are. Well, Jung thought that dreams were significant. Freud thought that, you know, they were significant in a different way. Like Jung would think they could have like some kind of synchronistic meaning. But Freud is more like, oh, you know, it's like insufficient, concerned with. Like, how do I say this? Like, it's it helps you when you're concerned with something that's insufficient in your life. Then you process it through your dreams. You know, like that was kind of, or whatever. Or feeling insufficient, that being a concern. That being endow, rumble, feeling insufficient, feeling concerned with being insufficient would endow the rumblings of the subconscious.
The rumblings of the subconscious, right? So he endowed those rumblings with more concern and made us aware that we weren't paying enough attention to it.
Yeah.
I like that. And endow is like opening a window into something. Now let's try putting Jung in. This could be just like, you know, like in a classroom, you know, you'd have, you know, your Philip K. Dick class or your Jung class, and you just throw various words in. Original, reserve, mutilate, grasping, goodness.
Well, he did have a lot of original ideas. He coined the term synchronicity, so I mean, he had a lot. I mean, not that was original. People have been following that concept for, you know, centuries, I'm sure. But in terms of like bringing it into the academic limelight, it was an original idea, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to put this in front of somebody who is like an expert on Jung, like I'm no expert, and see how they could, you know, get more out of it.
Mutilate, grasping goodness.
Electric fortune cookie.
How about LSD
Oh yeah,
or Stanislav Grof?
LSD.
Maid, gone, fret, love letter. That's interesting. That comes really off the wall. Can you make anything out of that?
Well, made, gone. It's like it used to. There are people who used to make it are gone in a sense. It's not being manufactured in the way it used to be. So that can be cause for fret.
Right, people are
Fret.
fretting.
Yeah, fret. Love letter. Love letters.
It's interesting because it's on a piece of paper, so it's like a love letter.
That's what I'm thinking.
You are?
And three letters. LST, love letter.
Oh,
But yeah, it is. It's like a little love letter for your
Right, it's condensed.
brain.
Right, it's a love letter to your brain in unwritten language.
And Guan has like G1, like all one.
Oh, wow.
Made.
And the maid is made for cleaning up your place. You get a maid to
Right.
clean up, so that LSD is like the maid that cleans
your
up your brain.
Exactly.
Here, let's put in heroin and see. Here, let's put in heroin and see what it says. Regimented beyond powers. Wow, that's intense. Regimented beyond powers.
Well, if you put an E at the end, like heroin, like superpowers.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like something that's regimented.
Because you start wanting it more and more. And
You have to, yeah, it becomes like your daily regime.
yeah. And but it gives you powers to go beyond. But then it takes powers to control it, so it goes back and forth.
Beyond.
It helps you beyond. Go beyond. It helps you go beyond being regimented too.
Yeah.
It gives you the power to expand past the regimentation. Think of something else. Let's see. What should we do now? How's that?
Free web random word fun at ASK.
Asylum. Strange is strange. How rare is it for the
Asylum.
That's
That's going off what we were
strange.
talking about earlier too.
Which was what?
Ancora.
Oh, with your mom, right? And as strange as strange, it's almost like a
Asylum is
puzzle.
strange.
So, if it's laughter you're after, playing with the electric fortune cookie can transform disaster.
And asylum is the opposite of estranged. It seems like it often gives these
Not
opposite
necessarily.
pairs.
I don't see how it would be the opposite.
Well, when you feel estranged from everything, then you want to find some place of asylum where you feel comfortable.
But asylum is kind of like estrangement. It's not really
In its
opposite.
own way, too.
Yeah.
What a paradox, right? But asylum means, finding, a safe haven, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
But then it became meaning, it's a loony bin. So then it's an estrangement in another way. Maybe that's part of the repetition of the estrange. People are strange.
Cool.
So, if it's laughter you're after, playing with the electric fortune cookie can transform disaster. Turn your uh-ohs into oh-wows, and turn your ahas into ah-ha-ha-has.